Ready Player One is based on the book by Ernest Cline, which I did read and I thought was excellent. And this movie is directed by Steven Spielberg, my all-time favorite director, returning to the blockbuster scene with this movie. And in Ready Player One, there exists this virtual reality that everyone goes to because the real world is crap, to say the least. So everyone escapes to this virtual reality known as the Oasis, which is basically just VR, but an entire universe of VR. And basically in the Oasis you can be anything you want to be, you can do anything you want to do, and it's everyone's escape from reality. So when the founder of this, or well, the creator in general really, of this Oasis dies, James Halliday, played by Mark Rylance, in this movie, he leads a competition for every Oasis member to participate in, and this competition leads to an Easter egg that he hid somewhere in the Oasis. So they gotta find 3 keys in order to obtain this Easter egg, and that's essentially the plot of the movie. We follow Wade Watts, who ends up joining kind of a rebellion against this company named IOI, that's headed up by Ben Mendelsohn's character, and yeah, they try to obtain this Easter egg before the baddies do, basically. It's more or less the idea of the movie. I might have overcomplicated that a little bit, but I also read the book, as I said, so I know a lot more about everything that's going on with IOI and those characters than an average person who just walks into this movie will. So that's probably why I kind of made it more convoluted than I should have. But on to the review. I'm gonna try to keep this as short as I can, but bottom line, I love this movie. I think it's excellent. It's a fantastic return to the blockbuster scene for Steven Spielberg. It's one of my new favorite movies of his. It's in my top 10 of his right now. It's definitely in the lower ranks. Like it's like 9 or 10 right now. It's not a perfect movie. I think there's one actress who's a little weak here. I think I'll get my problems out of the way first because there's only a couple. There's one actress, yeah, who is a little weak. It's like the henchman character to Ben Mendelsohn's. She isn't terrible or anything, but she's the weak link of all the actors in this movie. I also do think that the movie could have been just like 10 minutes shorter, just to kind of even out the pacing just slightly, because it does start off and it just throws you in, unlike the book, which has a lot of exposition at the beginning. But the movie just throws you in, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it really just goes and goes and goes, and you have to you want to pause and take a breath, but the pacing is just too quick, which it does slow down eventually, which definitely helps. It gives you time to breathe with the story and the characters, and yeah, but that is a problem, that's kind of, because it does rush it too quick. There's also some other elements, I think, from the book that I think were handled better in terms of, like, pacing, and that were a little rushed through in this movie. But aside from those few flaws, I love this movie. I think it's one of the best movies of the year so far. It was my second most anticipated movie of the year, so I'm very happy that I delivered. Steven Spielberg's direction here is excellent. The references are on point. I love them all. Most of them are in the background, but it's just a nice little touch to have them all there. But ones that are in the foreground, including a weapon from not an obscure movie, but one that modern day, like, teenage audiences most won't get unless you're a cinephile. But there's a certain weapon in this movie used, and it's perfect. I loved it. But yeah, so stuff like that. There's like really cool references in the movie. The movie is very 80s themed. There are modern day avatars, so there's like Halo models in here, like Master Chief and stuff. But it is mainly stuck to the late 80s as far as that, and like its soundtrack, which its soundtrack is fantastic. But yeah, the references, as I said, are excellent. I love this virtual world, the Oasis. I love seeing it come to life. I loved it in the book, but I love just seeing it here, and the visual effects are fantastic. And the story and the characters are excellent in this movie. Once again, I feel like I like them more in the book, but that's unfair. They change a lot from the book in this movie, so I shouldn't be mad about that necessarily, because they are almost two different. Oh, they are two different products, but yeah, they do change a lot. But what they do with characters in this movie, what they do with the world in this movie, I love. It's on point. The characters are quite charming, actually. I really enjoyed them, their interplay with each other when they do get to like talk to each other. Most of it is through the Oasis, but it works both ways. I mean, and this adventure is just a ton of fun. It's just an incredibly fun movie. It goes by like that, and yeah, it's a really great movie. I recommend seeing this on IMAX as well. I saw it in IMAX. I saw this like a week ago, almost a week ago, and I hadn't gotten to review it till now because I'd been busy or just lazy. I didn't want to do it, but now that I finally gotten to review it, I definitely recommend you see Ready Player One. It is fantastic. I don't know if it'll make it on my list for best of the year, but I would hope it will. But yeah, so I'm gonna give Ready Player One an A-. It's a great movie. I really loved it. Yeah, so that is my review for Ready Player One. I did see Pacific Rim Uprising. I did see Sherlock Gnomes. I'll review them. I didn't put up my reviews for like Simon vs. Homo Sapiens and Jinda and all those I filmed, because I just didn't want to edit them. In all honesty, I don't want to put something out that I just feel like I didn't try on at all. Like, I mean, these videos don't require a ton of effort, but like, you know what I mean. But yeah, so I'll see you in those reviews. But yeah, that's my review for Ready Player One. So, peace.